Okay, so welcome back to Betide Studio. In this video, we are going to work on the create session logic and also accepting the players and showing them on the dev portal. This method has changed since a few last YouTubers made the video on it. So basically we will be going and accepting the players, the host will be working over it, and then we will destroy when we leave, although the destroy logic will be continued in the next video because that is different for dedicated servers. So if you are waiting for the dedicated server, this video you will have to follow because for dedicated server we'll just make a few different changes and it will work. So basically, as you can see on the screen, we can join a session and we can have both the players in a single session, and we can even run the standalone and you can check the logs behind and see everything is working as you would like. Also, few people asked what we would be going and doing after the dedicated server, and that is we would be going and working on statistics, and then we will work on leaderboard achievements, and lastly on the currency system. So, and we will continue that series if you guys want. And yeah, that is it. Let's just get started. This is a very interesting video, and sorry, a long one because I had to explain each and everything. If you don't think if you don't think that you know the logic and you just need to get an idea how things work, you can skip. But if you are a newbie trying EOS for the first time or playing around with settings, the video is a must watch. Okay, so welcome back to the screen. Now let's just get started. So let me just open Rider, and that is in your case maybe Visual Studio. So you can open Visual Studio, and we first let's finish the game instance part, like creating, finding and joining session part, and then we will move on to the accepting player part where we accept the player in the match. So Rider is opening. Yeah, it is here. Just a second, it's scanning the files. And now let's go. So in the EOS game instance.h, what we will do is basically we have these functions currently, and they should be in the public section, of course. So let's just add a public. I don't know why didn't I add it yesterday, but these are all our public functions. And now the next thing which we need is we need a u function for which will be of course blueprint callable, and we will again put it in the category of EOS functions. And this u function will have a void type, and it will be create EOS session. Now you may want to configure a few values from the engine itself, from the blueprint part. So for those we can just create input parameters, like if we want to change if it is a dedicated server match or LAN match, we can just change it from the blueprint. So we will just create firstly is dedicated server. Then we will have a blueprint, a bool for if it is, why is it an error? Oh, okay, it's not an error. It was just compiling the files. So the second we can have a B is LAN server. Then we can have blueprint for, for INT32 for number of public connections. Same way you can have INT32 for number of maybe like private connections, and if it should use presence and things like that. But we will just keep it till here. And this was required. B is dedicated server because we need to work on it in the blueprints, because the next video would be on the dedicated server itself. Now something is wrong here. category. Oh, sorry, I wrote this wrong spelling. It should be category. Now this should go away. Yeah, it got away. And now we will just generate a definition for it. Before working on it, let's just create one more thing on find session complete. So whenever the session creation is completed or it returns something, so we will just create a void thing. Let's keep all the return places together. So let me just cut this and paste it here. Now the second return delegate should be on create session completed, and this needs a few things. Firstly would be the session name, so f name session name, and secondly bool if the session creation was successful, like this. And then the next thing is we need to add again a u function for finding and joining lobbies. So this would be blueprint callable, and then we will have it category EOS functions. So what I'm going to do is we are not going to make we are not going to make a server browser. In future, if people request, I will of course make that, but now we will just find a session and join it. Because we will move forward with the dedicated server in the next video, so we need to like join directly the server which we get. So I will not create the find session blueprint like a blueprint callable. It would be just called internally in C++, and we will just find the session and join. Oh, sorry. Find session and join. This also needs a few things. Firstly is firstly it is if you want to, let's move firstly. We can figure out the internals because I don't remember what type of internals find session settings required. So we will just input the values whenever we reach that part. Sorry for that. And let's generate definition for this. Now we need a return type for this also when we find the session. So let's create that void on find session completed and bool b was success. Sorry for spelling mistakes. Just understand that I'm weak in English, maybe. Yeah. The next is again a u function, and this should be, if you want you can make it blueprint callable. Let's make it. And category should be EOS functions, and this would be void sorry, so this should be join session, and we now need a join session completed node, so we will just make it here void on join session completed, and this will firstly have a f name of the session name which we successfully joined, and it will give us the result if we joining was successful or not. So for that you need to write e on join session complete result, and then add these two and then type and make it result. Some spelling mistake here for sure. E on join session, I don't see a spelling mistake. Okay, let me just remove T and write it. Yeah. Okay, so first I think we missed a header. So as you can see, header has been added for online session interface, and in the description you can get all the headers which we itself gets included, because a lot of headers itself gets included. and I don't notice, so I include all the headers in the description. So now when the session has joined, we also need to get the session search ID and whatever. Okay, let's make a session search ID. So basically it is a T shared reference. So T shared reference, and this should be F online session search, and name this session search. Don't ask me much questions about this, please. I'm weak at it. Anyways, let's move ahead. So this part is completed, and let's create a function for on join session. And we have all the sessions now here. So we can start coding. So firstly, let's start with the create EOS session. So we can just from anywhere, we can just copy this subsystem reference and like this. And now as we took the identity pointer reference, now we will need the session pointer reference. So let's get I online session I online session pointer. So we need I online session pointer, and let's name this session ptr reference, and this would be equal to the subsystem reference, and we will just get the session interface from here like we took the identity interface. And now when we have the session pointer reference, we will just check if it is valid. So if session pointer reference is valid, we will make a session info search. So basically session info would contain all the settings you would like to create for this. So let's create F online session settings, this one, and name this session creation info. Sorry. So this variable will contain all the settings. So if I on the next line put session creation info and dot, so you can see it has all the settings. B allow invites, B is dedicated, should advertise. So let's start, and if it is dedicated, we can just make it, we can get the value from here. So this will be set from the blueprint, so we will just say is dedicated server. Yeah, next is session creation info dot allow invites. So we can allow invites, so we can say true. Then session creation info dot b b is LAN match. We can get b is LAN match from here. B is LAN match, and now we have number of public connections, so we get session creation info number of public connections is equal to number of public connections. And then we need to have session creation info dot so firstly we have a b use lobbies if available. So basically lobbies and sessions are different things. So if you enable this lobbies thing, then the sessions would show up in the lobby section, and they usually have a host, and I don't think dedicated server supports lobbies. And we need, if you are using dedicated server, we will keep it disabled, and if you are not using it, we will keep it enabled. So if you want to use lobbies, you can set it to true, but I will use normal sessions, normal matchmaking, so I will just set it to false. And any other thing I am leaving, yeah, so one more thing, we need to have session info and dot session creation info dot, we need to set a search keyword so that we can search it in the like we can show up in the portal. Now this is required for further videos also, because in future we are going to make a lobby system, so we need to have search keywords, and then we can just get any text here because it requires an f name. So we can have sorry, it requires an if string. So yeah, so we will just have uh, random high. So this will come up in the search settings. In future, we are going to make a random string generation and put a random string here, but for now it's not required. Although in my second project I have used the random thing, and it has a few bugs, so that's why I'm not doing that now, but in future we will do it for sure. And then online data advertisement type, and we will just say view online via online service. So our session creation info is now completed, and we also need to disable the presence for now. Basically, I did try it with presence, but like it didn't work well. It just crashed the game. I don't know why. In my case, presence is not working. So I usually set it to false, or I just leave it. If you want to use presence and you want to try it, you can just dot info dot then just write presence be use presence, and you can turn it to true. For now, I will just keep it false. And one more thing, we need to advertise this session. So we will just session creation info and advertise. We should advertise to true. And rest we can add in future. Now we also have a function for on session creation complete. So we will just call this session PTR reference, and we call it on session on create session complete delegates. And then we will just press dot u object, pass in this reference, and then we will just call u eos game instance on session completed. Now we just need to create the session. So this basically we binded the session pointer to whenever a session is completed, creation is completed, we just call this on create session completed. So now we need to create the session PTR reference on create session, and the local name would local user ID would be 0 hosting, and then you can have a f name and then brackets, and add the f name for this session name. So this will be used for the session name. So for now I will name this main session, because so that we have uniformity all over the map. And then comma, then we just call this session creation info. We pass the session creation info and done. Of course, it's not still done. It does create the session and it will show up on the panel also, but it will not open any level. So let's first save this and then go back to our on session creation completed. So basically, if you are creating a session, that means you are the host of that session and you will be the server which will like take you to the next level or take you to the next map. So what we need to do now is basically we check if B was successful. So if it was successful, that means the map has been created. So what we now need to do is we need to get the world, and we need to server travel to our new level, and we will need to pass in a URL of the lobby which we want to use. And for that, what we can do is basically I think it's an f string. It requires an f string, so let's make it let's create a variable here. So let's create a u property which will be edit anywhere, and also blueprint read write. The category, we need to give it a category, so we will have EOS variables, and this would be f string open level text. And then in the EOS game options, we just pass in open level text. So we have the URL, and this will server travel to the new map, which we choose from the blueprints. I will go over it, don't worry, and I will even show how that works. And after the session has been created, we can do more stuff like so basically. Okay, so it gives an error of use undefined session search, and it is of t-share type. So currently we are not using the t-share text. So what we can do is we can just make it this, and we can just run. Basically we will fix it, so don't worry. Currently we will just comment it and run. I will be back in a second as soon as it like finishes building. Okay, so now the engine is open. Let's go and create a new level first. So we have this third person map. We will use this for our creation of session, and then we will create a new level. Let's make it basic, and let's just save this in the same place and name this uh, main session map. And we will copy this main session map, and we will also copy the file path to it. Now go to your game instance, whichever game instance you are using. I'm using BP game instance, so I will just go to it, full blueprint editor, and class settings. You will notice we have now open level text. So put in the path to it. So basically we have the path to it now. I cannot zoom in, but we have the path. And let me just go to it back. Sorry, we need to copy the reference to it. Copy the reference and remove this and put in the reference. And basically you will see that it has a few comma type thing on it. So remove that comma and the world thing written. And also in the end you will need to remove the map name, which is written twice with the dot. And then we need to add a question mark and type listen if you are wanting to create a player versus player or a listen server, which we are doing at this video. In the next video we will just extend this and make it for the dedicated server. In the place of dedicated server we will just take the IP of the server. So for now in player versus player this listen thing would work. Now let's compile, and I don't think we need to do anything else. Oh yes, we need to go to our uh, blueprints and open our main menu, and we will just press Ctrl D on this button and position it a little bit lower. And change the text to create session. Now session creation should only be done if the player is logged in. So we will check the visibility binding of it and copy the visibility binding and go to your create session, create a visibility binding for it. So create binding for it. So if the user is not logged, if the user is logged in, we will make it visible, and if the user is not logged in, we will make it hidden. So if the button is pressed, we need to create function for that. On clicked event, we will just cast to the game instance like before and call create EOS session. Now you see we made it, we gave it 3 values. So we have 3 values now, and we have dedicated server, LAN server, and number of public connections. So let's make number of public connections to 10, and we take the is LAN server. So let's, one more thing which we need to do is we need to add the third person game mode here so that we can have it on this screen also. And also need to add a player start. We don't have a player start as well. So let's add a player start. And let's make it double. Done. Now let's open our old level and let's try if everything works according to our plans. So now we have EOS, so we will just log in. Continue to the app and allow. Now this should take up and log in, and remove this login with the EOS button. So yeah, we have our username, and now we have create session thing. So let's try creating a session. So yeah, we came up on our next level, and yeah, so basically you can see we processed the server travel, so that means the login was in like correct. So basically now we will have to work on the accepting logic. So let me just open up Visual Studio. Oh, sorry, wrong, I said it. Where is it? Yeah, right. And now we have our game mode and game mode h dot game mode cpp. I will close the game instance for now. And this game mode will be used when the user joins the level. So this is the server level, like the session level, and this will now tell the EOS website that yeah, a user has came by and we accept that user, and you don't need to kick them. So let's go to our CPP and firstly create a construct node. So basically EOS game mode, and this is a constructor, and let's just end this. So just the class name with an a is required and then brackets. Then we need a private section. You can have it in public also, but I usually keep it in private, and that's how I work. Then we will have a u function, and this if u function will be used to register all the players which are in the match. So let's do one thing. Okay, let's now create a public section. Sorry, public section, and we override the post login node, post login. So in Unreal, in like Blueprint, we can like make a call to the parent class. Same way we can make it override for our post login node, and new player override. And we also need to make a new function, which okay, we will do that later. Now we can now go to our EOS game mode, and we can just create a definition for this. So basically you notice how it calls super. So basically this game mode has already, like this post login node has already been called in the base class. So we need to add up like a call to the base class that yeah, we are now going to use the post login node. So we will just check if the new controller is valid. If it is valid, then we make a f unique net id ripple and make it unique id ripple. And it says some error cannot resolve something. So basically that is because we have not included the header for it. So if I now type f unique net id REPL. So yeah, it now takes it. Basically you need the headers for it, and also spelling mistake should not be a problem. Mostly in my cases it's the spelling mistake. Sorry. And then we will make an if statement and check if the new player, that whichever player is coming, is local controller. Now why are we checking if it is local controller in a game mode? So basically if it is a local controller, then that means it is a host of the session, or the dedicated server in cases of dedicated servers matches, and uh, the host player in the cases of listen server. So we will just check if it is a local player controller. And if it is, then we will make a u local player reference. Get local player. And now what we need to do is we need to check if this local player reference is valid, as we usually do, just to prevent the crashes. And if it is valid, we will just make it unique REPL ID is equal to local player reference get referred unique net ID. It may be difficult to, like, this game mode thing is the only complex thing which I saw till now. Rest everything was just like easy to make. So you will have to check the spelling mistakes and try to use visual assist just if you are a beginner or you are coming new. And if the local player reference is not valid, then we will make a unet connection and make a remote net connection reference, and we will cast to unet connection. And the reference would be the new player, that is the controller. We will get the controlled pawn, so we can just get the player from it. And we will check if it is valid, if, or we can write a check note directly. So we will just check if yeah, it is valid, and the validity of remote net connection reference. And then if it is valid, then unique net id replicated is equal to remote net connection reference player id. And this part solves the else thing. And then below this, where we check if the new low player is connected or not. Now if it is not the local controller, then we understand that yeah, it's another player joining the match. So we can just copy this part where we check if it is local controller or not and paste it here. And yeah, if it is okay, after this else we will make a t shared reference to our const f unique net id, not REPL, it should be only unique net id. And then we will name it unique net id, and we will cast it from new player to unet connection, like this. Here we will make unique net id rebel dot get unique net id, and then we will check if it is valid. uh, Check unique net id, sorry, I put it wrong. Unique net id, and we will just check if it is not equal to null pointer. If it is not equal to null pointer, we will make I online subsystem, here it is, and make the subsystem reference. And we will again get online as we usually get. So basically, if it is online, then we need to get the headers for this. So what we can do is we can just go to our game instance.h or cpp and just copy this 3 lines. Also, you can just verify it from the description, because I usually check if I have put the right values. I can remove this, we don't need this, and we can remove this algo also. Yeah. And now you see the online thing is valid. Just give me a minute. I just need to verify why this null pointer thing comes up here. Oh, sorry, we made a t-shared reference. It should be t-shared pointer. And pointer. Now all errors should go away. Yeah, it got away. And then we will just get the subsystem, and we can get the new player reference and get the player reference from it. So no worries still here, I think. Oh, sorry, from this new player we will get the world. Yeah. And now it says error on this because subsystem reference, this looks good. Online get subsystem. Oh, we are taking the get session interface. We need to get the subsystem. Now on the next line, we will just get the online session pointer and then session reference, and we make it subsystem reference and get the session interface. Now we have the session interface with us. We will check. We will try to register the player. So let's make a boolean b registration success is equal to register session reference register player, and then we will get the f name, and we also need the saved session string. So basically we need the saved session string, basically the string ID of the session name, or basically the session name, whichever we are using. So as you remember, we used session name where it is main session. So we will just copy this. And now we use this main session named, and then we will pass in unique net ID, and we will pass in basically if the player was invited or not. So basically we pass in false for now, and then we will check if it was valid, basically if the registration was successful. So this is the most important line, as we register the players from this line, and if it is valid, then we will just print a statement log temp warning text registration successful. And this is done. So basically here we have the player registered with EOS now. Now players usually leave the match also, so we will need to figure that out, and there is a lot of sound coming, so I will just continue that in a few minutes. Okay, so now we have this, and now let's run and check if it works. Okay, looks like there is some problem, and let's open our game mode.cpp. And okay, so we don't have. Yes, we created the constructor, but we didn't use it. So let's remove the constructor for now. We don't need it as of now. We will just play it as it is. Yes, the build succeeded. Now let's go to our main session map and create a new game mode for it. Let's call it uh, sorry, session game mode, and let's save this and open the session game mode and go to file, reparent blueprint, and reparent it to our EOS game mode. Done, compile successful. Now we have the parent class as EOS game mode. Now, what we can do is basically we can call event on post login, and we can just right click and add a call to parent function. So basically this is equal to that super function which we created. And the default pawn we can just say third person character. Let's save all, open our third person map, and let's play. Now let's log in. Continue to app, allow. Now login is successful. Let's create a, just a second. Let me get, yeah. And so basically, as you can see, it says registration successful. So it did send a message to the core processor and told them to enable us, like add us to the matchmaking queue. Sorry, add the session to the matchmaking. Let's check if it does that. So here you see, uh, this time this session was created. Now I don't know why when I enabled the local area multiplayer, it didn't work, but now it works. So basically, let me just get to the lobby, and if I now search random term, and you can see we have a public where we have open public players. Total number of players as of now, we have random high as the name, Betide Studio the owner, and we have it connected. So the problem was the LAN thing. So basically if we go here and disable the LAN server, basically local area network, then it works. So yeah, we should have it disabled because it's a cross-platform game, and uh, anyone can connect from around the world. So LAN should be disabled. And now it came in session because I disabled that. I turned on use lobbies if possible. So if I make it false now and now run, it will again work. And now here we are. Let's run and check. Okay, so we need to create a functionality where they remove it from the list. Let me just check reset selection. So you see this still exists, so we need to destroy this session, but let it just automatically destroy first. Let me just log in till that. Let's check create session works or not. And let's go to matchmaking, and you can see now we have a free session. Open slot is 10 and open. So this works. And just to get the amount of players, let's just get the player ID and press. I know it won't work very nicely because I already had a lobby to connect, and then I like changed it to why is it not opening it? Okay, I cannot open the value, so let's just go to attributes, and so here. So its status is not started. Advertise join in progress is false and join via presence is true. And it's zero players because we are already had a lobby connected and we just disconnected it without telling the EOS. So we need to destroy sessions now. So let's start working on the destroy logic. So for that we need a player controller. So let's create a new C++ class. So player controller would tell us when the user is closing all the net connections, and before that it will make a call. So we will just tell the EOS before that call that yeah, we are clearing up the net connection. Please remove this player from the list. So we will just select the player controller and name this EOS E. Sorry, my keyboard got disabled. Yeah, EOS player controller, and we will just add it. Now we have, let's just close this. We don't want to compile it via live coding as we already build everything ourselves. So let's go to EOS player controller.h, and here just add a protected section and make a virtual void on net cleanup, and this. I just pressed enter and it added it. And yeah, that is it which is required here. So we will just create an action and override a member function. Oh, sorry. Uh, yeah, generate definition. And we now have the definition. Now don't write the logic here after it. We need to call the super after we have told EOS to remove us. Now if we make it before, then basically uh, this won't work. So if we want to destroy the session, we will just write if. So before we can close the connection, what we can do is we can make a call to our game instance. So we can make a value of EOS game instance, EOS game instance. So it adds the game instance thing and make it a game instance. Sorry, reference, and we can just cast to our EOS game instance and get world get game instance. If the game instance is valid, we will automatically destroy the session. So we will have to open game instance.h and call this, copy this, sorry, and name this destroy session. And let's make it generate definition for it. So let's go back to our game instance dot EOS player controller, and from here we call game instance reference destroy session. And now in the destroy session node in the game EOS game instance, we will just copy this sub session interface thing from the create EOS session. And if it is valid, we will just get the session pointer reference and destroy the session. So we will need to pass in the session name, which we know is f name, and it's called main session. And we also need to pass in the delegate. So we just need to pass in the main session for now. We bind it to a destroy session on session destroy. Oh, sorry, on destroy session complete delegate. We add a u object, this parameter. So we need to now make a u object for it. So let's go to here and we can just copy on create session complete, and we can name it on destroy session completed. Go back to the .cpp file, and from here you can just call EOS on destroy session completed. And done. I believe that is the only thing which we needed to do. And on create session completed, we will just sorry, on destroy session, we will just generate a definition. We don't need to do anything. If you want, you can print something from the user here, but that is it what we need to do, and that will destroy the session. Also, just let me check. Yeah, okay, that looks nice. And what we can do, one more thing is, basically, we will just complete the find session and join node soon. So before that, let's just check if everything works till now. I will open up. So we have 0 sessions here. Let's log in with the EOS. And let's create a session. Session, create a session successful. Let's check it on uh, so let's check it this on our portal. So we have this one session live, and let me just check if it is this is current one. Yes. So basically it did not take any player in. I don't know why it says error received, modify player. Oh, okay, okay. So we are missing a policy, missing action. So we will just enable the policy thing. But as soon as I leave the session, does it remove the session? No, it won't, I don't think, because it did not take the player in the first place. So, okay, so let's work on the policy thing. Let's go to our the same policy which I said, manage player policy. So let's go to the client policy and make it custom, user required. Now we need to enable all. Currently manage user, I don't know why is not allowed for the players. And that is it. Let me just go to the lobbies and check, sorry, matchmaking, and check we have manage players. So if you remember in the lobbies, we already were able to manage the players, but in matchmaking we were not. So we have now the policy, so we will just save and exit, and this should get updated. Let me just check if the session has been destroyed or not. No, it has not been destroyed. I hope it gets destroyed soon. Let's just play. And now that it error detected came, so let's go and check the website. Now we have two sessions. One has the player in it, and it has 9 left spots. So this works, and now you can check the players. We have one player in it, and we can advertise join in progress and things like that. So this works perfectly fine. Now let's get to the find and join session thing. That would be the last thing for this video, so let's go and work on that. So now let's start working on the find session system. That should not be too long. So let's open Rider. Let me just open up Rider. So here is Rider. Now let's go and re-enable this T-shared pointer reference. I again wrote T-shared reference, T-shared pointer reference to session search, and go to EOS game instance and on find session and join. We will write, yeah. So we will just, as usual, copy this part, find session and join. And now we have the reference to session pointer. So we will check if it is valid. And if the session is valid, then I will write session search and make it shareable and new F online session search. I'll add a bracket here. And next thing is we need to add all the settings which we need to search for. So basically, if you are wanting to search only for lobbies, so we can just set the query settings. We can just, sorry, query settings, and we can set it to only search lobbies, and we can set it to true e online comparison operation to equals. And if you are just searching for normal matchmaking sessions, so you can set this to false. And then what we need to do is we need to set session search max search results to 20, 25, whatever you want. I will just set it to 20, and then we will get the session pointer reference, and we will just bind it to on find session complete delegate dot add u object this u EOS game instance on find sessions completed. And we will just now directly find the session by writing this find session 0, that is the local user ID, and then we will just write session search dot to shared reference. And this will call when we on find sessions completed. So let's go to on find sessions completed. We don't have it yet, so let's go to EOS game instance. On find sessions completed, we will add a bool. So we will make we will write if B was successful, that means we were able to find the session. And if we were not able to find the session, we will just create a EOS session. We will pass in false as the dedicated server, false as LAN server, and 10 as the number of players. And if it was successful, we will just join the first valid session. Okay, so let's copy this part from here and end it here. And let's write, let's get the f string from this part. So basically we will now call the join session node from this part. So or what we can do is we can directly join that session. So let's make, uh, let's directly join the first session for now. Search pointer reference on join session complete delegate dot add u object, this u EOS game instance on join session completed, and we will get the pointer reference. We will check if the join session, and we will call it 0. Name of the session is usually, in our case, let me just get the name, main session. And then we will get the session search and then get the search result and join the 0 one. And before that, we also need to check if the session search search results 0 is a valid thing. If it is not valid, why to join? Is valid. And if it is valid, then only we will try to join it. And if it is not valid, that means the first session was not valid. We will just create a EOS session which with false, false, and 10 as the number of players. So that does solve our find and join session thing. So now we will be able to find sessions and even join them. So let's try running it. Let's go. Oh, sorry. One more thing is left. Basically, we have to write the on join session completed node. So uh, generate the definition for on join session completed. So when we join the session, we need to open the level, whichever level the main player is on. So what we can do is we will check if, yeah, so it just gives that error. So we will write if on join. So basically we will get this result. Result is equal to e on join session completed result success. So basically if the result was successful, then we will just get the join address from the player. So if it is valid, then we can just get an f string. So if a player controller reference is equal to u gameplay statistics get player controller get world and 0. So we are just getting the player controller, and if the player controller reference is valid, we will get the f string join address and we will get I online. So let's get the online session reference from here. So we can just copy this part as usual. So basically, if the session pointer is valid, we will get the join URL from this point. So session pointer reference get resolved connect string, and we will pass the name of the session as it requires an f name. So f name would go as main session, whatever we have put as the joining session name. So we will copy main session, put this here, and comma, we will also pass in the join address, as we need to put the address in the join thing. And if join address is not empty, so if it is not empty, so we will add a exclamation mark here. Then we get the player controller reference, and we will client travel to the join address, and travel type would be travel absolute, and this does the work. And if you are not, if you want to print the join address, you can just put join address is, and join address. Oh, one more thing, here you need to put s, and here you need to put x. Now this should work. Let's run. Now we have this, so let's make it number of players to 2. I don't think it would open up because it's a LAN game, but let's try. I think it should open up. Oh, sorry. Before we do anything, we need to add the find session thing to the main menu. We will just copy create session and duplicate this. And name this find session, and on pressed, just copy this and make this find session and join. Let's now run. So now we have two screens. I don't know why nothing came here. Maybe they are trying to get the same thing, but Let's log in for the first one. And we have now the find session and join session, and we log in with the second one. Let me just switch account to a new account. Sorry for hiding it from the screen, but I don't want all my email IDs and passwords to be leaked. And I logged in. So it should come up here. Yeah, it came up. And I have Hello Studio int Betide Studio. So we have two of these, and let's try to find session on the first one. The operation completed successfully. Okay, I got it. So basically it crashed because we were not able. So that's what I'm saying. If there's something wrong with it, it will just directly crash the engine. So we were trying to join the zero session even if it was not valid. So what we can do is we can just go to find session and join. No, on find session completed here. So even though we have a check, if we have uh, let me till then close this and close this. Okay, so what we can do is we can get the session results and then get the array length and check if it is greater than 0. Then only proceed. And now let's run. Now, as usual, let's just run 2 copies of it. Till then, yeah, now with this time we have the text on both of these. So let's log in on the first one. And we are now logged in on the first one, and let me just log in on the second one. I pressed it twice, but no worries. I will switch accounts. Okay, which of these is a crab? Nice. What a thoughtful question. I don't even know for sure. Yes, we got it. And this again got disappeared, but oh, so it came up. So let's try to find session here. And it created a new session, as you can see, and we can now try to find session here. We both are in the same session. Something is wrong here. Let me just check on the portal. Sorry, my computer is hanging a little bit because I have a few Chrome tabs open, OBS open, and a lot different types of things. But let's go to our this tutorial project and game services, multiplayer matchmaking. And we have two players in a session. Nice. So that means it's working. This error is because I pressed on that button twice, and for the first time it was enabled, and oh sorry, for the second time it was enabled, but the first request is still pending, and that's why you see we have two sessions here. It did not find a session, I think so. And let's close one of these, and let's see if it destroys the session. Let's check what went wrong here. Okay, so here I am back from the future. So while editing, I got through a page where I found out that the destroy session node is a little bit bugged at this moment. The EOS session doesn't get destroyed. I think that can be because we are calling that from the server controller, and I will fix that in an upcoming video, but rest everything works. Also, we are trying to find a non-LAN server on same device. That's why that didn't work. So I tried it on two different devices and it now worked, but I could not record the second screen. But rest assured, this system works until you are trying both of it on the same system. So that is it for this video. Meet you in the next one. Hope you are well. And also the next one is for the dedicated servers. The most requested videos is coming your way. Thank you. So basically, I found out from a few EOS help posts that we can change a few settings and get the results. Currently, EOS is fixing those issues, but for now, let's just fix whatever we need to so that we can at least have a playable game. So let's go to tools and open rider. And on the search thing, where we start finding the sessions. get username, login with us, find session completed, create US session, find session and join. We have this firstly search lobbies false, so remove this. If we add this, we don't get the correct session result, so currently we cannot use it as of now. Then we also need to make search sorry session search b is lan query is equal to false, and one more thing, that is search query settings dot search params dot empty. And hopefully we can find our session with it. So let me just close Unreal Engine. And now let's play. Okay, so the recording got lost at the end. It just started lagging so much that my OBS crashed. So I have to re-record. Bad life, but no worries, we will. Okay. It's still lagging a lot, but I hope it doesn't crash this time. Log in with the OS. Log in with the US. Let me just log in it. I will hide it so that you cannot see my passwords. And I will change. And done. So we have logged on to both. So let's find, oh no, it's not still come, it didn't came here. Yeah, it is now available. So let's create a session with this one. And we are now on the map. Sorry, I have set it to 0 quality, that's why it's looking bad. And now we press find session here. So you can see both the logs moving. That means we are on the same page. That means we can now jump, create sessions, and if we leave, the session will get destroyed. We will work a lot more on the destroyed logic, but you can see it is working very nicely. And even in a standalone, so both are basically on standalone, and you can see that. So that is it for this video. Meet you in the next one. Hope this video makes your life better in terms of, I don't know. Yeah, and we did this without Steam. Basically because I don't use Steam that much for creating games. I am more of a cross-platform game creator, in short. So yeah, meet you in the next one. The next one would be based on dedicated server. Then we move on to leaderboard, statistics, and things like that. Thank you. Ah, look.